Hello there, welcome back to my channel. If you are looking at my face going, there's something a little off there, Shirley, you're looking a little pale, you would be right, because I have no color on my cheeks or my lips, and that is because you are going to help me figure out the right color of blush and the right color of lipstick, because I am finally bringing you one of your most requested videos, and that is how to pair eyeshadow with blush and lipstick. So before we get started, if you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and now let's get to this. Okay, so as we jump into this, there are going to be a couple of things that will be helpful for you to already know. One is what your skin undertone is. If you don't know that, I will link up here a video that I did. It was about eyeshadow, but I also tell you how to figure out what your skin's undertone is. And that would be, there's three main categories, whether warm yellow, neutral peach, or cool pink. So if you don't know your skin's undertone, make sure you watch that video and then come back to this, and it will help you as we go along. The second thing that's going to be really helpful is to be able to determine when you're looking at a blush, a lipstick, etc., whether it has blue undertones or cool undertones, or whether it's warmer or yellow toned. And then neutral in between is, I'll show you how to figure that out too. But if you struggle trying to figure out whether a pink is blue toned or yellow toned, pull out some good old construction paper. This is a very blue tone purple, and then obviously this is yellow. And if you hold it up to a particular blush, you're going to be able to see which one it complements more. You can see against the yellow, it is very cool toned, but against that purple, they just blend really well. So you can see this pink has a lot of blue in it. So that's something else that we'll talk a lot about. So as we get started into this, I'm going to give you just my philosophy on how I like to pair eyeshadow, blushes, lipsticks, etc. There are no set rules, at least I don't think so. So these are my opinions, my philosophies, the guidelines that I use. Feel free to take my tips or not, but I'm going to share with you how I like to do it. I think it's the easiest way. And so we're going to start off with what I think is one of the most challenging combinations, and that is how to pair a bright, colorful eye look with blush and lipstick, because as you can see, I've got some pretty bright eyeshadows going on right now, and I kind of want to finish out the rest of this video with some blush and lip color on. So let's start here. Now, the first principle that I use when pairing lipstick and blush with a bright eyeshadow combination is I like to do a monochromatic look. Now, this only works if you're doing a bright eyeshadow look that pairs or translates well into a blush and lipstick color. What I mean by that is bright corals, bright pinks, berries, bright purples. Those translate well, in my opinion, into blush and lip colors. Things like blue, turquoise, green, at least for me personally, do not translate well into blush and lipstick combinations. So we're going to start first with the bright eyeshadow looks that do translate well in a monochromatic form. So with what I am wearing here, I just want to show you a couple of things that will not work. I think sometimes it's easier to start there. With this bright eyeshadow, if we paired it with this blush and this lip combination, I mean, all of these will work for me on different occasions, but when paired together, you can see it just looks a little crazy because these are all very strong colors and they're all in different tones from what I've got going on in the eyes, different undertone. So conversely, you might be thinking, okay, she's got coral, that's peach, that's warm, so anything warm can go with that. Well, let's take a look at this blush right here. And it's kind of sometimes hard to see, but this one has a lot of gold and yellow in it. If I were to wear this on my cheeks with this eye look, it could kind of look like things just don't quite go well together. So you're saying now you've showed me two things that wouldn't work. what am I suggesting would work? Well, if I want to stay in the coral family and do a monochromatic look, here is something that I think would work really well. And so if you look closely, this one, even though it does have some yellow in it, it still has more peachy tones and not quite as much gold as the one previously. Another good option would be this one. This one's a little bit paler. So you don't need, and you definitely don't want to have the same intensity, but monochromatic just means the same color family and same kind of undertone is what I'm going for. So this is Peaches by MAC. This other one I showed you is from BareMinerals, and this is Peachy Keen. So sometimes in the name, it can help you decide which color would go really well. So let's go ahead and apply. Let's see, I think I'm going to actually apply the stronger of the two. I don't have any bronzer or contour on, so I'll add that after. But I just want you to see how that color goes on and how, oh, hey, it just kind of ties the cheeks in with the eyes. And even though this is a bright blush color, because it's of the same tone and color family as what I've got going on the eyes, and I'm obviously applying it in a more diffused manner, it just helps bring it together and it brings some life to the cheeks. Hallelujah. So as we move into the lip, if I were to jump outside of the monochromatic theme here, you could go neutral, which I will show you in a moment, but if you were to do a color like any one of these three, it's kind of hard to tell without seeing them on my lips, but you can see these are all very cool toned. This is like a cool tone taupey mauve. This is more of a rose color. This is a very cool toned, where's my construction paper here, a blue toned pink. So you can see all of these have quite a bit of blue tones. This end one has a little more neutrality, but these two are very blue. And so if I were to put one of those on my lips, it would again kind of make the lips kind of not look like they sync with the rest of the look. So instead, I typically would like to go in more of that kind of peachy tone. So one option would be this one from MAC, and this one, it is peachy and has just a hint of some pink in there, but it's definitely in the orange family. Now, if you didn't want to go all out orange, you could go into something like this. And this is Sandy B. I should tell you what these are as I go along. This is Sandy B. And this one has a little bit of some pink, but it has more gold. So you can see that compared to Creme Cup. This is Creme Cup from MAC. And this one, so it could be the same level of depth, but just a little more warmth, and you can see that will work with our eye look and our cheek color today. Now, another option would be, if you didn't want a real full-on color, would be to go in with a gloss, and this is one of my favorites to pair with kind of peachy rose gold looks, and this is Dose of Colors Jazzy. And you can see this is just in the right color family, and so it would again pull this whole look together. Okay, so before I apply the lip color, the final part of this would be the lip liner. So if you're somebody like me that needs a lip liner, then you have to also kind of choose what color. For me personally, I don't use the exact lip liner that matches with every single lipstick color I own. It's probably a good thing. So what I mean by that is, if I go in with a coral colored lipstick, I do not necessarily have to use a coral colored lip liner. This was something from Bite I just happened to have on hand. I dug this out. I thought, oh, I hardly even ever wear this. So instead, what I like to do is choose, maybe you have even just two lip liners. One that's a little bit warmer in the neutral category, and then one that might be a little bit cooler or more pink leaning. So for this look, I could use this one by Urban Decay. This is 1993. It's neutral. It's a warmer toned lip liner. So I've just swatched a few examples here on my hand. Obviously, this is the one that stands out as being the coolest of the family. That's Bellflower from Sephora, and I love that lip liner, but you can tell it's not going to go so well with any of the warmer tones that we have in our look. So these others could all work well. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. It's definitely the more neutral of the bunch, and then these two have a lot more warmth. So again, I would say just pick something that has the same undertone as the lipstick that you're going for, and you can stay in the neutral family. That works just fine. So I think for me today, I am gonna go with the Broken from Urban Decay. And so that is the lip liner applied. You can see it's still pretty neutral, but what I like about a neutral lip liner with colorful lipstick is you can kind of use that lip liner to help tone down a specific color. So I have chosen, I'm gonna start off with Spotlight from MAC. I've actually not really worn this shade yet. It's actually called Spotlight Me, odd name. But I'm going to apply this. Okay, so that is very monochromatic, and it's almost the same level of depth as our cheeks go, which is okay. But for me personally, I would actually prefer to either deepen it or lighten it just a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to lighten it. You can either add a gloss, Jazzy would be a great option, or you can go over it with a lighter lipstick. This is from Almay, and this is Skip the Gym. Amen to that right now, right? And this, by putting this over it, it would just lighten it a little bit. It has some gold, a little bit of gold in there, but I'm just gonna go in with the Dose of Colors Jazzy. Okay, now I'm just gonna apply a little bit of contour and bronzer so we can finish out the look. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of highlighter. So that is an example of monochromatic pairings. Now, another option would be to do a neutral cheek color and either a monochromatic lip look or a neutral lip. So this works well, especially if you're wearing a blue or green or really vibrant, colorful eye look that doesn't translate well into a cheek color. So what I like to do in this instance is look for a blush that is neutral, that goes well with your skin tone. So this is where those cool and warm and peachy undertones, knowing what you are, will be helpful. So if you are a cooler skin tone, blushes that are going to look more neutral on you, a couple of examples would be Exposed from Tarte. Now these are blushes that you can wear whether you have peachy undertones or warm undertones like I do, but they're not going to look nearly as natural and neutral on us as it will on those of you who have cooler undertones to your skin. So this would be Exposed from Tarte. Also Dallas, and this looks like nothing, but it is a very pretty neutral blush, and it does show up beautifully on those with pink undertones and also those with neutral undertones. So those would be two examples if you've got cooler undertones and you are light to medium skin tone. If you are deeper skin tone, a couple of cool tone blushes. One would be this one, what is it? Sweet Mulberry from Cover FX. I mean, look at the depth of that, but this is definitely very cool toned. It's beautiful. I've worn this in a tutorial, but a very light amount. But again, this is not something that I would pair with this eye for me personally, but if you have deeper skin tones this could look very neutral and natural on you. Something for me personally with warmer undertones, a blush that would work for this look or colorful looks is Let's Go Nude from BareMinerals, or Beige for Days, which just has a little more, I would say, cooler brown in there. Now this would also work if you've got neutral peach undertones, but again, that's Beige for Days. And then for warm undertones, even I think this could work in peach, would be Madly by NARS. Again, one of those blushes that looks like nothing in the pan, but actually shows up beautifully, and again is very neutral. So it's just gonna give your cheeks some color, but it's not gonna compete with a really crazy eye look. So then what do you do with your lips? Well, if you are wearing, again, like a color like what I have on, you could do a peach on your lips and still do neutral on your cheeks. Or if you're wearing more of those blue eyeshadows or whatever, and you want to keep the lips a little more on the neutral side, again, the undertone of your skin and the undertone of your blush is going to help you choose the undertone of your proper lip color. So a couple of options, if you've got cooler undertones to your skin, that would be something like this. Let's see, what is this from MAC? This is Friend Like Me. It's of course a limited edition, but you're gonna look for something like this, which would pair beautifully with your Dallas blush. So you can see they both have very similar undertones. Even the depth of color is very close to being the same. And then for your perfect lip liner, right, because we're gonna need that, I would say something like Liar or Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. Let me show you those. Let's see, there's Iconic Nude from Charlotte Tilbury, or you could do Liar from Urban Decay. And both of those have enough coolness to them that they would give you a really nice neutral line around the edge of the lips. Now, if you have warm skin tones, one good option would be, and I love that Becca did this, they have warm and cool undertones to their new line of lipsticks, and this one is Warm Dusk, and that would be this color here, and you can see how it would go really well with Let's Go Nude from BareMinerals, and it would also pair really well with my eye look. Now, if you are peach neutral undertone, I didn't forget about you. One of my favorite, and I actually love this blush, and again, these blushes anybody can wear. They're just gonna look more neutral on certain skin tones than others, but is this one from MAC. It's called Melba, and this one is going to look fabulous on you, especially if you have peach undertones. It's going to be a really nice neutral color on your skin, and that would pair really nicely with Sandy B from MAC. So that would be a real nice kind of neutral peachy color, but again, it's gonna look a little more nude on you. Or you could do Cream Cup if you really want nude. Cream Cup from MAC has a good amount of pinky peach to it, so that would be a really good if you want straight out nude color. Okay, now moving into our final category, and that is neutral eye looks and then cheek and lipstick combinations. What do you do there? Well, this obviously is up to kind of individual preference. Now, the things that we already talked about are really going to help you here, because if you are wearing more neutral eyeshadows, and I know a lot of you don't wear as many colorful eye looks as I do. So if you kind of veer more towards neutral looks on your eyes, your cheeks and lips, you really can kind of open up the floodgates and do a lot of different things. So here, my guidelines that I will typically do are these. First of all, I will typically think about what lip color I want to wear first with a neutral eye, and then choose my blush accordingly. So if I'm doing a neutral eye, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, a real light eyeshadow application. You could do a deep, dark, smoky eye, and this would also apply. But if I've decided to wear a real bold lip with my eye look, and I want that to really be the standout, I will apply my bold lip color first. And this one is a real, it's kind of in between, but it is a little more on the cool tones. So how do we know? Let's hold up our blue sheet, and then let's switch to our yellow. And you can see, even though this still shows quite a bit of red, I think it goes a lot more on the cool tones. So as I'm looking through blushes, then I am probably going to choose something that is going to be a little more neutral according to my skin tone, but I'm going to also take into effect kind of what the color tones are. So this could work for me because I have more yellow tones in my skin, but if you are more of a cool tone gal, this is going to detract from the beautiful lip color. However, if you're a cool skin, cool undertone girl, and you applied Dallas blush, you can see this is just going to add a little bit of flush of color, but it is not going to detract and take away from the beauty of this shade. You could, with a real light hand, do a blush color like this, because this is going to pick up some of those pink reddish tones. This is going to give your cheeks like that you've been outside in the cold look. I'll show you if we do just a real light layer of this blended out beside it. But you can see this still has quite a bit of blue tones, so this is going to work best if you've got cooler skin, cooler undertones. Now, somebody who's a warm undertone girl like me, I would choose to do something like Let's Go Nude from BareMinerals, and you can see there again, as opposed to the pink on that side, this is just going to help the lipstick be the show and not the blush. Now, if, however, you say, Shirley, I never like to wear bright, bold lip colors, I'm more of a neutral lip color girl, what do I do about my cheeks? Well, if I were to use like this lip color, let's say, not with this eye look, but with a neutral eye look, and you go in with a nude lip, you really can have a little bit more fun on your cheeks. You could do something kind of bright on your cheeks. Again, you're not going to be wearing it this strongly on your cheeks. Let me just apply it in a real, oh, that even was a little bit too much. Okay, so you can see though the undertone of those two matches pretty well. Again, if we were to hold up our blue, you can see that goes a lot more than the yellow. Also, this one from Burt's Bees would be good. This is Shy Pink, and I mean, that would be a beautiful pairing together. Now, conversely, if I were to use this blush, it could work, but it's going to definitely make the cheeks like, whoa, those are orange cheeks. However, for me, if I were to use Madly, that could work. So if I wanted a monochromatic nude look, I could do that. Let's go back to this really dark, deep blush, okay? So look how beautifully that would pair with that lipstick color. And again, you're not gonna be wearing it this dark. Okay, so you can see that blush applied real sheerly. And again, this looks different because my undertone is yellow, so it really stands out. But if you have cooler undertones, that blush color is gonna look more natural on you than on me. Okay, now the final thing that I wanted to address, and I was asked this question, and it's something that I personally consider every day when I'm doing my makeup, and that is, how do you pair what's going on with your face with what you're wearing down here? And so that is where I personally like to decide whether I'm going to do a bright eye look or not. And so if I'm going to do a bright eye look, I want that to coordinate somehow with what I'm wearing in my clothing. So like I said today, I paired the same corally tones that are in the flowers that I happen to have on my nails. And then I paired a little bit of a green liner on the lower lash line. However, if I did a real neutral eye, I would then choose my lip color and probably blush color to complement again what I'm wearing here. So either something in the warmer nudes section or something that has some peach or coral in it. And likewise, if you decide to do a neutral eye with a bold lip color, then you just want to make sure that that lip color doesn't clash with what you've got going on in your clothing. So if you are wearing a really bright orangey red lip, you don't want to pair it with a real blue toned pink shirt. You know what I'm saying? All right, so there we have it. There are my tips and tricks for how I pair eyeshadow with blush and lipstick or lip color. I hope that that was helpful for you, and now you can go to your makeup collection, pull things out, start swatching them, pull out your construction paper, and figure out the undertones of your blushes and your shadows, and just have some fun pairing things together. Now, one other side note is if you're interested in the eye look that I'm wearing here, I did do a tutorial on that look, and I will link that in the description box below. Thank you as always so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.